When this man's wife gave birth to a black child, he abandoned her in the most cruel way. And 20 years later, something incredible happened. Anna trembled with fear as Jack menacingly walked towards her. She hugged the baby, who was sleeping peacefully in her arms, closer to her. Tears streamed down her face, and her insides clenched with fear. "Who is the father of this creature?" Jack shouted, running closer. Fearing his anger, Anna only whimpered and did not utter a word. "Answer me!" he shouted, this time slamming his fists against the wall where Anna was standing. Jack flushed with anger, clenching his fists tightly. Without saying another word, he ran out of the hospital room. Tears rolled from the girl's eyes as she watched her husband leave. She took another look at the beautiful boy sleeping peacefully in her arms. She felt sorry for him, as she believed that he did not deserve such treatment. And yet she couldn't understand how it happened that the child turned out to be black. He and Jack were white. Even the medical staff had no explanation for this. They only offered to conduct several tests, including DNA analysis. With his help, they would be able to get much-needed answers. 5 days later, Anna was discharged from the hospital. During her entire stay in the hospital, Jack never called or came to check on her, and Anna was very disappointed with her husband. What happened to all their vows to be by each other's side no matter what? Nevertheless, she understood his anger. If she were in his place, she would be angry too. But leaving her in the hospital was too much. This meant that he had completely lost confidence in her. Even if he had doubts about the fact that the child was his, they could have done a DNA test. It was much better than completely doubting her. When she finally returned home, she met Jack, who immediately gave her a cold, bloodthirsty look, and their gazes met. Without saying a word, he went into the guest room. Anna sighed and entered the room a few minutes after she had fed the baby and made sure that he was fast asleep. She decided to have a straight talk with her husband. Jack looked up in shock when Anna entered the guest room. "What do you want?" "What is it?" he asked, angry that she had the courage to enter his room. Anna was silent until she got close enough. Then she began to remind them of their old days and the vows they had made to each other. She asked him why he was so hesitant and left her in the hospital. What made him think that she could ever break their relationship? Then she swore that she had no intention of cheating on him, let alone actually doing it. She even offered to take a DNA test if he still doubted her. Tears flowed from her eyes as she spoke and pleaded, but Jack only cast disapproving glances at her. And then the man laughed sarcastically and said he would not spend his money on a test proving the obvious that she had cheated on him with a black man. He told her to leave with her illegitimate son and date her lover, otherwise he would make the house unbearable for her and the child. He then pushed her out of the room and ordered her to just pack her things and leave, or he would make her do it. After that, he slammed the door in her face. Anna sat down by the door and wept bitterly. She kept banging on the door, begging Jack to believe her, but he remained adamant to her pleas. When she got tired of begging and arguing, she got up and went to her room. She decided to give him some time, realizing that Jack's anger would not change his mind. She called her sister and explained everything to her. That evening, her sister came to Anna's house and helped her pack her things. When Anna got into the car with the child, she looked around, hoping that Jack would come, but, of course, there was no one in sight. Her sister tried to calm her down, saying that everything would be fine. A few days later, Anna woke up to find that all the money in her joint account with Jack had been withdrawn. She was stunned. Her heart was pounding and tears were streaming down her face as she continued to check the balance. She couldn't believe her eyes. This time she cursed the consequences and decided to confront Jack. She dressed quickly and headed to their family home. But when she got there, she realized that something terrible had happened. The house was empty. All of Jack's things and all of her things were gone. And all the children's supplies were also missing. Why would Jack do that? She continued to think. Why had he hurt her so much because of an accusation he didn't want to prove? Did he just enjoy hurting her? It took several hours before Anna finally stood up, wiping away her tears. Later, she saw a piece of paper on the table. It was a note written by Jack. She felt her heart almost jump out of her chest when she read the last words he wrote to her. My dear Anna, I can't believe that you betrayed my trust so much. I can't imagine living with you and that bastard, so I think we should break up. Please don't ever try to contact me. You'll be meeting with my lawyer soon. Anna's eyes widened, she screamed and burst into tears, falling to the ground. She tried to call him, but of course his phone was disconnected. 2 weeks later, Jack's lawyers came and handed over the divorce papers. She was completely exhausted, and any attempts to save the marriage were a waste of time. She just signed the papers without objection. She had no strength left from crying, and she was unbearably bitter. Her sister continued to cheer her up, saying that Jack never deserved her, but nothing could ease her pain. Despite unforeseen circumstances, Anna never blamed her child for her misfortunes. Every time she looked at him, she was grateful to God for the gift of life. She felt nothing but love for her baby, and named him Michael. She was determined to raise him with all the love in her heart, believing him innocent of the trauma she had to go through. Her parental leave came to an end and she had to resume work. In the morning, before going to work, she took Michael to kindergarten, but because of the torment she had to go through, she became less effective at work. She worked in the customer service department at a microfinancial bank. The smiling and cheerful young Anna became sullen and withdrawn, and began to look a little shabby. A few weeks later, she was called by her supervisor, Pedro Williams. He began to ask her what was the matter, since she was no longer the employee he knew and appreciated. She burst into tears and told her boss about the current state of her marriage in connection with the birth of a child. Pedro felt sorry for her. He calmed her down and advised her to stay strong. Then he hugged her and patted her on the back, letting her cry on his chest. It seemed unfair to him that a noble person like her was going through this. Then he decided to help her recover. At every break, Pedro went out with her. She hesitated at first, but his persistence won out in the end. Over time, having lunch together helped them get to know each other. On weekends, Pedro also came to check on her and the baby and asked how they were doing. Sometimes, if he had free time, he would take them to the cinema, to the park, to the beach or to a nice restaurant. After a few months, Anna really started to get better. Gradually, she became the cheerful woman she always was at work again. She was very grateful to her boss for helping her overcome the pain caused by her previous marriage. Pedro was happy with her recovery and kept coming to check on her. A year later, feelings flared up between them. Pedro was a widower. His wife died in childbirth, and the child was stillborn, which was a double tragedy for Pedro. Perhaps that was why he had endured Anna's pain so easily. He honestly began his relationship with Anna on a friendly note. He just wanted to help her recover. But now he felt that she was more than a friend to him. So one weekend he asked if they could take their relationship to another level by expressing their feelings for her. Anna was surprised. She also began to admire him, despite their working relationship and friendship, but did not expect him to feel the same way. Unfortunately, although she had recovered from the trauma of Jack's betrayal, she still loved him. And she couldn't love someone else the way she could love him. She politely declined Pedro's request, deeply hurting him. And yet Pedro did not give up. He stayed by her side and continued to show how much he cared about her. Anna appreciated his kindness and care, and they remained friends. One day she was cooking in the kitchen when she heard Michael's scream coming from the living room. Alarmed, she hurried to find out what was the matter, and did not pay attention to what was happening around her. She hit a pot of hot sauce, it tipped over and spilled on her feet. She screamed in pain as the heat burned her body. Michael rushed into the kitchen and immediately started crying when he saw his mom crying in pain. He was too young to know what to do, and the only way to express his confusion was to cry. Anna knew that she had to be strong for herself and her son. Despite the pain, she got up and went to the phone, stroking her son. Her sister was on a business trip at the time. The only person she could call was Pedro. She called him to ask if he could help her get to the hospital. He immediately agreed and got into his car. When they got to the hospital, she was placed in a ward for proper treatment. Anna was afraid for her son's health. Her sister was away, and she didn't have anyone to look after Michael. But without even asking or expressing his concern, Pedro told her that he would look after Michael while she was in the hospital. Anna couldn't express her gratitude in full. She was too grateful for his kindness and care. Pedro behaved like a loving father to Michael. He looked after the boy with such love and patience. On his way home from work, he would pick up Michael from kindergarten and they would drive to the hospital. Anna was shocked to see how harmonious the relationship between Pedro and Michael was. She even heard Michael call him Daddy, not the usual Uncle Pedro, as he used to call him. She was discharged a week later and Pedro took her home. Anna spent several days at home, thinking about what kind of bond she had with her boss. She was convinced that he loved her and her son. She too could no longer deny the fact that she had fallen in love with him. She made a decision. She decided to move on. Even Michael loved him, and she knew he would be a great father to her son. Moreover, Michael needed a father, and no one was better suited for this role than Pedro. When she returned to work, she went into his office to thank him for his kindness and help. Then she said that she would like to take their relationship to a higher level. Pedro was so glad to hear this that he immediately hugged her tightly and kissed her. Pedro never stopped loving Anna. Soon her colleagues found out that something was going on between her and the boss. This aroused the envy of some and the admiration of others. But Anna never let it get in her head and affect her work. She was still the cheerful and businesslike woman they knew her to be, and Pedro just continued to love her more and more. 2 years later, Pedro realized that he had to formalize a relationship with Anna. On her birthday, when she entered the office, she was shocked to see that the entrance was decorated with balloons and flowers. Once inside, she heard her colleagues congratulating her on her birthday. She was shocked and looked around in surprise. Then she laughed to hold back the tears that were about to spill. It was too beautiful. She started thanking everyone for the effort they put in to do this for her. But she was looking for Pedro in the crowd, but she didn't find him. She suspected that he was the main organizer of all this. But where was he? "Happy birthday," she heard his calm voice behind her. When she turned around, Pedro was standing with a big smile and a cake in his hands. She pressed her palms to her lips because tears were running down her cheeks. His smile widened, and he asked her to come closer to him to hug him. She whispered, "Thank you," and he kissed her on the lips. When it was time to cut the cake, Anna ran a knife over the cake, but realized that there was something hard inside. She became curious and decided to cut the cake as soon as possible. When she did, she found a box with a gold ring. And when she picked him up and turned back, she saw that Pedro was already on one knee. Her breath caught in shock. "I love you, Anna, and I don't think I can live without you. I want to be a father to Michael too. So, please, will you marry me?" Pedro asked with such love that tears ran down Anna's cheeks and she nodded. Then he took the ring and put it on her finger. He stood up and kissed her, and the cheerful audience watched with admiration. Tears were streaming down their faces too. 3 months later, they got married. As the years passed, the couple raised Michael as a responsible child. They made sure that Michael got the best of everything: school, clothes, and education. Michael made them proud of his exceptional intelligence. At one time, he graduated from high school, went to college and studied computer science. Upon graduation, he was immediately hired by a technology company. His employment was accompanied by privileges such as a house and a car, as well as a lucrative offer. His parents were incredibly happy. Everything was going well in this family until a man appeared in their lives whom they never thought to see. That day, the family was having a small outdoor party to celebrate Michael's birthday when a strange man suddenly appeared. The old man looked shabby and rude. Besides, there was a disgusting stench coming from him. But Michael was going to offer the man a drink anyway, but Anna stopped him. "This is the man who abandoned you," she said very coolly. Upon hearing these words, Michael became enraged and ordered Jack to leave immediately. Jack shamelessly knelt down and begged to be listened to. Through tears, he told how his mother turned to him about 10 years ago. She confessed that his biological father was a black man with whom she cheated on her husband shortly after the wedding. "So why did you come back? You knew about this 10 years ago. Why have you been silent for so long?" Michael shouted. Jack didn't know what to say. In fact, he got carried away with an irresponsible life. After he left Anna, he lived carefree. He went from party to party, dated several women, and spent money lavishly. After all, just 5 years ago he married a young girl, and that was the beginning of his suffering. She made his life a living hell. She had never really loved him and was only with him for the money. Due to family problems, Jack could no longer focus on work, and he was fired. Just when he thought it couldn't get any worse, his young mistress ran away. He went to a bar that day. Whenever he left in this way, he was not at home for several hours. When he returned home that day, he experienced the strongest shock of his life. Everything he had was gone. Worse, he started receiving debit notifications on his phone until there was almost nothing left on it. Shocked, Jack suffered a stroke. Fortunately for him, his neighbor came to his aid and he was taken to the hospital, where he eventually recovered. As soon as he was discharged, Jack realized that he had to look for his family. A similar situation made him realize how badly he had treated Anna and his son. He had heard that Anna had remarried, but he still believed that he had a chance. After all, she was madly in love with him back then. But how wrong he was. Anna told him that he had no place in their lives, and that she had deprived him of his paternal rights many years ago. Then the mother and son shouted together for him to leave and never show his face again. Jack left in disgrace. Later, he ended up in a nursing home, wishing he could turn back the clock and do the right thing. Dear viewers, if you liked this video, then like and subscribe to our channel. Goodbye.